got the new software, but it's coming. It's coming. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome to Sound Bath Sundays. Okay, so let me see who's here on Facebook. Welcome. If you've never been here before and want to say hello, I'd love to welcome you into my world. And if you're a regular, thank you for showing up every week. I love you. I appreciate you. And let's get started. Today we're going to talk about what's near and dear to my heart. I tend to perhaps assume that what I do is so out there that even if I explain it, it would make no sense. But I realize that, and I feel that when people experience what I do, they're going to get it. But sometimes our brains, our minds need more information. So today is all about informing you and being more explicit as to what it is that I do. And so I do sound healing combined with accelerated learning processes and techniques that allow us to shift our mindset, reprogram our subconscious mind, get rid of beliefs that no longer serve us, or become aware of beliefs that we may have that come from generations that we were born into that are not what serve us, so that we can have the choice to choose the beliefs that we're going to work with, a new framework to call it some way, so that we can have the life that we desire. We can become aligned with our desires, so everything matches. I went on a live earlier because I just finished working out to this workout called Insanity. It is literally insane. It is, especially I guess as you get older, I realized I am not 23 anymore. It's rude awakening. And yeah, it's insane, but it is very important for me to keep exercising, to keep strong. I have found that in my particular case, whenever I stop exercising, my immune system goes, and I have a lot of problems. What helps me remain stable in my emotions, in my physical body, is exercising. Besides the meditation and all the other work that I do for mindset, but for my physical body, eating better, sleeping, and exercising is a critical component. There have been times when I've stopped exercising, especially when I was sick 2 years ago. I started getting really sick, and it's something that I had for 20 years. I finally got the correct diagnosis, but I did not exercise for a year and a half. I simply did not have the energy, the stamina, or the will to get exercising again. And I can tell you, had I forced myself to exercise more, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? It just didn't happen. But now it's happening. I'm healthy again. And it took me a long time to get back on track, right? Back on the horse and start exercising again. Hola, Susi. Bienvenida. So once I get on track, it is wonderful. My body is like, I feel like every cell in my body says, thank you, thank you, thank you, even though we're suffering through the exercise. At the end, I feel so much better. I get my vitality level just goes up through the roof, and I'm able to sustain a lot more. I'm clear in my mind. I can work longer hours. I can pick up my grandson with ease and just be in a regular, better frame of mind. And I don't have to work so hard at it. So investing 20 minutes to an hour of exercise gives me an ROI of, I don't know, the entire day. Sometimes the minimum that I get out of it is 4 hours of energy and vitality. So, you know, you get 1 to 4, that's a pretty good ratio. I get sometimes 1 to 8, that is an incredible ratio. So that's what I keep investing my time in. But anyway, I digress. We're going to talk about what is vocal tapestry, what it is that I believe, and what it is that I do, and how it helps people transform their lives. So about 22 years ago, I think it's been, since the movie What the Bleep came out. In that movie, I was reacquainted with the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto. I had seen it before. It kind of caught my eye. And then during the movie, when I saw it, I was like, I knew it's something calling me. Now, I'm a Pisces. Water and me are like this. Everything that has to do with water, I'm in. And so when I saw what the effects of thoughts, beliefs, music on the molecules of water, and put 2 and 2 together, right? We're made of water. I realized, holy cow, okay, so whatever I'm thinking is shaping my molecules in my body. Now, it was very clear that when there was and I don't like to call it good or bad, but let's call it high frequency, high vibrating concepts, ideas, music played or put on labels on the water jugs, or prayer sung over polluted lakes, for example. They would take samples of the water, freeze it, and they would take a picture of it, and they would get magnificent crystals. So Dr. Emoto did experiments that put love on jars, right? He did an experiment with rice and put the cooked rice in a jar. And a lot of kids at school do this experiment. And when they play acid rock or music that has this language that is not necessarily highly vibrating, it's very low vibrating, the rice will quickly get rotten. And if it's beautiful words and sentiments and feelings and emotions, the rice will not spoil. And so when they did, he has a book called Messages from Water. And when the word love was played or put on the jar, they would freeze the sample and they would get this beautiful, amazing crystal, the most amazing, magnificent snowflake. But when they took samples of polluted water or water that had been played this horrible, not horrible, but low vibrating music, the results were completely different. They got blobs, amorphous shapes. And if you put 2 and 2 together, if you've seen pictures of cancer cells, it kind of meshes, you know, and it only takes a pair of eyes to see it for you to be convinced. It doesn't, it's like there's no discussion there. You can see a cancer cell, and you can see the frozen polluted water, and you can see the similarities, and they are pretty much identical. So at that point, in my meditation, I got this message that said solfeggio. And I'm a singer, and so I practiced solfeggio. I did my scales, right, in my singing, but I knew it was something deeper than that, but I had no idea what it was. So I started researching, and I found these sacred frequencies. So the Gregorian chants are based on these sacred frequencies. And so at one point, the musical scale was changed to be standardized, and it moved from 432 hertz to 440. So you know that 440 is the standard for the note A, and that is how they get all the orchestras and everybody to be in tune. The thing is that they're in tune to 440, not 432. And that 8 hertz difference makes all the difference in the world. I'm not going to go deep into it, but just know that it is a totally different frequency, and the effects on the body are completely different. So then I started learning about these techniques. I was also a dancer, and I came across this technique. They taught me how to literally vibrate my bones and my muscles. And I started experimenting with straight tones of the solfeggio, the sacred solfeggio frequencies. And I started singing tuned to these frequencies. And my idea was that, because I had no proof at that point, my idea was that if I was able to sing these songs to people, I could literally structure the water in their bodies so they could regain perfect health. So that's something that I felt was happening, but it was just, at some point, I thought I was losing my mind, to tell the truth. I was like, I can't share this with anybody because they're going to send the men with the white coats and they're going to put me away. So I kind of did it on the lowdown. And for many years, I just practiced on it, did it by myself, worked on it, and kept perfecting this. My idea at that point was to get a group of musicians together and create what I call the gratitude concerts. And the concept is bringing all these musicians together, and they all pick one of the frequencies, right? And then we move them up. At that point, I was working from lower chakras to top chakras. So if you don't know what a chakra is, the energy centers in the body. There's 7 basic chakras. Now there's many, many more energy centers in the body, but the central ones that run along the spine are these chakras. And so every frequency, the sacred frequency of the scale, is aligned with these chakras. So every chakra has its own frequency. Like, for example, the red chakra is 396. So we keep going up. And so I thought, okay, we'll get all these musicians, we'll get all this original music, almost like a Cirque du Soleil kind of concept, dancers, musicians. And I was like thinking, like, people would come into this experience, and they would, by the time we were done, they would be vibrating so high that they would go out, and whomever they came in contact with would get entrained to this frequency, so we could create a wave of love and gratitude to envelop the entire world. And that was my idea. So I was trying to get, original music written and stuff like that, and I kept hitting a wall. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Until one time, I was during a spring equinox, I was in Mexico City, and a series of synchronicities, I ended up with my mom at this equinox ceremony in Mexico City with this amazing shaman woman that became my very, very dear friend. We're still friends now. But I'd never seen this woman. We went to the ceremony, and at the end, my friend who had told me to go there told me, you have to talk to her. You need to talk to her. And so I went up to her and I said, I'm this person sent me to you, and they told me I should get an appointment. And she's like, you know what? No, I'm doing I'm going to be speaking at this Congress, and I have, my schedule is full. I'm sorry, I can't see you for the next month. And I said, okay. She didn't know I lived in New York. I didn't say, listen, I'm going back to New York in a couple of days, and I'll probably never see you again. I turned around, I said, thank you very much. Thank you for trying. I thought I tried. I turned around as I'm walking away. She says, wait a second, come back. And I'm like, yes. And she says, oh, I'm getting the gossip. And for her, the gossip was like the angels speaking to her, because she's a channeler. And she says to me, they're telling me I need to see you. I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, who's they? Right? She said, they say that you need to sing, that what you have to do is sing. She's like, And I'm like, yeah, but I'm singing. She goes, no, you're stuck because you just need to sing. And I said, what are they saying? And they're saying that you have a huge vision, but you don't have to worry about the original music. All you have to do is sing to the tones. Just use your voice. And I was like, first of all, I was floored. This woman had never seen me in my entire life. And she was telling me the way to get unstuck. And so she saw me. We had an incredible meeting. We became friends, blah, blah. I go back to New York. And I'm thinking, okay, I have to sing. But what do I sing? For me, singing was having words, having music, having sheet music, and just like learning my song and singing. It wasn't like, okay, just open your mouth and improvise. And so one time I started just playing the tones. As I'm going through the tones in my meditation, something in me came alive, and I began to tone along with these frequencies, these tones. And I started creating the harmonics. The harmonics started coming out. I started hitting certain points where it sounded like a choir. I was in shock. And it was very difficult for me to surrender to that and just to open my mouth and allow whatever sound came out to come out. Because I'm always very conscious of beauty, of a beautiful tone or a beautiful sound. For years, I would not sing the high notes, which are what comes naturally to me, because I thought they sounded ugly. And so I fought myself. Thank you. Hi, Susan. I literally was fighting myself, trying to get, I wanted a black, sultry, sensuous voice, rich, like chocolate, like, that depth, not this tone that was like, oh my God, this is just like piercing, and I don't like it. This is not my idea of beautiful, and I can't do this. And so there was a lot of resistance. So I kept fighting myself. And I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but when you keep fighting what you're supposed to be doing, the resistance happens, and it is not a happy place to be. It is not pretty. It is not happy. It is not graceful. It's not easeful. It is struggle and fight. And so it was like a continuous thing until I decided to trust. That was hard because my divorce included a lot of betrayal, which made me decide that I couldn't trust anybody because I had been betrayed, and I couldn't trust people because the people you love will betray you. So if I couldn't trust anyone else, it's, as outside, so inside, as above, so below, I wasn't trusting myself either. So I had to learn to trust that if I opened my mouth and I was in the right place, it was in alignment, and I was in my heart with the pure connection, without any agenda, without any planning, without any, well, it's going to sound like this, and then I'm going to go here, or then I'm going to create a specific song, and I'm going to sing songs. It was almost like, okay, I got in the canoe, got in the white water, and I just went. And that's what the journey has been. I've been going down the river and going through the white water in my raft, and I'm just going like, whee! And the moment I open my mouth, now I have Harry, who came into my life after, but before I would just play the tone, and I would just go into this meditation, and whatever happened, happened. And the thing is that the more I began to trust in the universe, the more that the universe continuously had my back. And then the most incredible thing happened. Sometimes what I do is I follow the energy of the group. And sometimes the sounds were not pretty at all. But sometimes those sounds had to come out before the beautiful sounds would come, because that's where the transformation was happening. I was kind of just reading the energy, and it's like all these things that are this harmonious, and they just start coming out, and all of a sudden something happens and there's a click, and the sounds start to become really beautiful. And then everybody's energy starts co-creating this with me, and or with my energy, or whatever's flowing through me that does me, and the magic happens and the transformation happens. And then people see color and they see fractals, and they go through these experiences that I've never been through myself, because I'm the one making the sound. And it's just it becomes even more magical, because it's like I don't get to experience the same thing. So it really becomes about full and complete and utter surrendering and trusting that whatever is going to come out is the exact thing that is needed in the moment. And so the journey began, and I started using my friends as my guinea pigs. And every time they experienced this, they were like, whoa, you have to share this with the world. And I still resisted it. I'm like, no, I'm not telling anybody, because I don't want to end up in an institution. So at that point where I was still resisting, I began to teach speed reading. I became a speed reading coach, and I would teach every weekend at Columbia University. And one Thursday, I remember it like it was yesterday, I was having this push and pull with this whole thing happening. And I said, listen, God, I am falling between two stools. I love the speed reading, and I know it's not my thing, but I love it so much. It creates so much transformation. And this sound healing thing, I don't know, it's just not even taking off, and it's so woo-woo, and it's so crazy, and I know it's science, but people don't see it like that, and I haven't been able to explain it that way, and people, say that I'm crazy, and this is just an insanity, and it doesn't work, and they call Masaru Emoto a quack, and, I think I'm just gonna let that go, unless you give me a sign. If you want me to continue with this sound thing, send me a sign that is unequivocally tells me that I must keep going with this. And I let it go. Wouldn't you know it that this was a Thursday. On Sunday, I teach a class. At the end of this class, this young man comes up to me and says, are you open to tutoring? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I took the class today and I just don't get it. I'm not sure I can do this. And I said, of course you can do it. Anybody can do this. It's like, would you tutor me? Would you mentor me? And I said, sure, I'll mentor you. Turns out that his office was a few blocks from my apartment. So I decided, okay, you can come over and I'll teach you. After work, you can come over, we'll go over everything, and I'll, start teaching you. So the first, he comes over on the Tuesday. We start talking, and he sees my cymatics drum that I had built, a painter's bucket with some latex, where he's like, what is that contraption? Because it looked really weird. And I said, oh, it's my cymatics drum. He's like, what is that? And I said, it's how I do the visual representation of sound. And when I sing, I make these fractals, and these images come out in the sand, and I show him my flowers and my people embracing, and he was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I said, but I think I'm gonna stop doing that. He's like, what do you mean? I said, yeah, I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm just gonna do this speed reading. Turns out this guy was the vice president of a company, Innovative Medicine, where they used an antenna based on quantum physics, which is what the basis of all my work, that could tell, he could measure if what I was saying was true. He's like, we can measure if you're actually aligning my chakras like you think you're doing. I'm like, what? He's like, you tutor me with the speed reading, I will measure, I will do the measurement, and I will give you your proof. Because we'll see, we'll be able to see it. If it doesn't work, you'll know. And I'm like, okay. Next day, he shows up with all these suitcases and stuff. He like got into a taxi and brought all this equipment. The whole apartment was full of equipment. And he had this antenna that he was just measuring his chakras, and apparently his chakras were completely misaligned at the beginning. And within 20 minutes, I was able to align his chakras. Before he did the second measurement, oh, thank you, Stacia. Hola, Mari. Before we took the second measurement, when I was done with my toning, he looked at me and he said, you know, I'm just going to do this measurement so that you know and your mind can be at ease knowing that this works. But I can tell you that I felt it in my insides. I just felt it happening. I felt something move in me. And he was just crying, and it was just so emotional. And he said, don't ever stop. And he measured, and I had in 20 minutes aligned his chakras. I thought it took me 40 minutes to do that for people. I actually did it in 20 minutes. And it was that unequivocal sign for me to keep going. And so here I am, a few years later, and Harry came to me. Harry actually came to me. So my favorite frequency is the frequency of love and magic and miracles, and it's 528, and it's the key of D. And Harry came to me, and he was tuned to the key of, wouldn't you know it, D. I didn't know he was gonna show up in the key of D. I had this, that's another story for another day, but he showed up within 3 months of me coming into contact, seeing one of these for the first time and knowing that I needed one of these, and I knew how to play it. I didn't know how I knew, but I knew I had to have one. And there was a wait list of 2 years, a year and a half, whatever. I got him. He came to me within 3 months of me laying my eyes on my first hand pan ever. And so he arrived, and wouldn't you know it, he was in the key of D. So he is magic and miracles, and he's my boyfriend. His name is Harry. And so that's it. That's what I do. And Stacia over there on Facebook is saying, it's an amazing experience. Yeah, and for me, it is a wonderful thing to see. When I do my retreats and I have people coming live, I take pictures of everybody the day they show up for the retreat, and then I take pictures the last day. It's a 2.5 day retreat, 3 days, and 3 days, 3.5 day retreats. And they come out, and people come in really happy because they're going into this fun experience, but they come out and they're completely glowing. They are transformed, and you put the pictures side by side. I'm gonna show pictures one day, but you can see the difference. Like, there's no wrinkles. People come out and they're just like renewed, rejuvenated, and completely glowing. And so Mari, oh yeah, remember when I couldn't, when I got Harry, I did an unboxing video live. I was shaking so much because I couldn't believe I was getting my hand pan. And then the case is, now it broke again. Like, the zipper is very difficult. It's this Italian beautiful case. I don't have it here, but the zippers are not the easiest. And this zipper was broken. And I couldn't open the zipper to get the hand pan out. And I was like, I cannot believe I waited for this moment. And now I can't get the hand pan out. Finally, I just asked Archangel Michael to help me, and the zipper just went whoop, and I would never I had to return that case. They had to send me a new one because that one was completely broken. But I was able to take Harry out of the case. And I wanted to call him Flick because he looked like a bug, and I love A Bug's Life. And I thought his name's going to be Flick. And I would hear in my head, Harry. And I'm like, Flick. And this is Flick. And I'm like, people, Flick. And I present to you Flick. And I was like, hearing in my head, Harry. And I was like, no, it's Flick. Harry. Flick. Harry. Flick. Harry. Flick. Harry. 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 Until I said, well, this is Harry. And literally that voice in my head stopped. So, you know, I've learned to just go with it. Because the moment I called him Harry, which is not a name I would have come up with on my own, frankly, truth be told. But his name's Harry. And Harry and I have been together now for over 2 years now, I think. Maybe 3. I think 3 already, 3.5 years. And the most amazing thing that I find surprising is that when you hear me, you can recognize that it's me because I have certain things that I do. But every sound bath I have played since I started doing this toning and surrendering has not been the same ever. You might get little pieces here and there that it's like, oh yeah, I can recognize this thing that I do, or it's like this little run that I do, or this sequence of the tones or the notes that kind of tells you that it's me. But the whole thing has every time been different. And some days I wonder, it's like, when am I going to run out of new combinations? And I guess the universe is infinite, and it's proving to me every time that I just have to trust. Because when I get into thought, when I leave here and I come straight into my head, it starts not sounding great. I start getting kind of stuck, and it's like an exercise every time of surrender and going back into my heart and bringing myself back into my heart center, back into that love, and just sharing the love. As long as I'm there, then I'm kind of opening the faucet and allowing God to do through me. And it's been an incredible journey, and I am so glad that you are here in my world. And I am so grateful that I get to share this, and I get to do this, every Sunday and during my courses. Right now, I'm getting ready to start a new session, a new meditation and transformation 21-day experience where it's just going to meditate people. Stacia, you get ready. Tomorrow we're starting. Stacia has been with me. It's my 3rd time I'm doing this, and Stacia has been with me the entire time. This time she won another course in one of the summits that I spoke. I gave it as a gift, and Stacia won it again. So I'm thrilled because there's anyone deserving, it's Stacia. She's such generous soul and so gifted, and she's really coming into her own. So I'm honored to have you in my journeying with me. Mari Carmen too. I mean, I'm just so, it's like we're all co-creating this, and the fact that you're here means you're meant to be here. And the fact that I get to spend time with these amazing people is such a gift to me. I'm back. When I got my first soap, my first role in soap, I remember sitting in the makeup chair with everybody, fussing about me and getting my face done, and my hair a certain color and stuff. And I remember, I think this was my second soap, because the first one I was a nun, so they didn't put a lot of makeup. You could only see my face. But I remember just feeling God, pinch me and tell me that what I'm living is actually really happening. It was like my dream come true. And I get so emotional. Sometimes I miss that. And I thought I would never be as happy as I was during that time. And I can tell you that right now, I think I'm happier than that. And I am so, so grateful. I get to do what I love. I get to do my voiceovers. I get to feel the love of the people everywhere I go. And it's amazing. So if you have a dream in your heart, I'm telling you, listen to that dream. Do what makes you happy. Stop fudging around trying to find your purpose and still living a life that you hate. So many people are stuck there. It's like, I can't make a move because I'm stuck in this job that I hate or doing these things that I hate, but I need to find my purpose. And until I find my purpose, I can't move. And I'm here to tell you that it's the other way around. Do what makes you happy and the purpose will show itself to you. And I know that a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I don't care. If you do what makes you happy, you start vibrating happy. That vibration magnetizes you and brings to you, pulls to your life from the future into your now, whatever gifts and whatever things you're dreaming about, they start coming, it gets added unto you. And I believe that that is the kingdom. That is the kingdom of God that we were promised. So your job is to vibrate at a high frequency so that you can attract all these things. And then if you listen to your intuition, it'll tell you, make a right here. Speak to this person. Make that phone call. Do this thing. Keep doing the sound healing, right? Oh, thank you, Stacia. I love you. And so when you're vibrating at that frequency, then nothing is impossible. And you listen and you'll know how to get out. Like, I know I was let out of New York City so that I wouldn't have to go through this craziness in a tiny little apartment. So I could have a car, so I could get out and go to the park and be by myself without surrounded by people, and all the things that have happened to me in the past 3 months. And remember, if you've been here from the get-go, you will remember when the first thing happened, when the first lockdown orders came in the US, and I went on and I said, how do you want to see this journey when you look back? How do you want to feel? Do you want to feel like I did great, or I went into fear and it was terrible and I had the most horrific time? Because life is what we make it, and we will get out of it what we put into it. And when you put in love and when you put in high vibration, you can't get anything else back. You cannot get fear and anguish and worry. You cannot get that back. You can only get the light frequencies matching back at you. And I believe that heaven and hell are right here, right now. And we can make a choice and we can be in hell, and we can make a different choice right immediately and move out of hell into heaven right then and right there. There's no time passing. And so we all have that choice to live in heaven at every moment. And I've seen people throughout this whole thing living in hell the entire time, having horrific experiences. And I've seen people having the most amazing things happening to them throughout this whole experience. So contrasting, it is frightening. Okay, I've seen it. And I made a choice for myself to make sure that I'd be okay by the end of this. And not only am I okay, I am thriving. I am happy. I am healthy. Some days I get the loneliness. I feel like I need a hug. But I been journeying with an amazing group of people. I've done 2 21-day journeys that have been amazing. We do it every day. I get to see them. We get to share. We get to experience the transformations together, and it's been magic. So if you are having a tough time right now, I am telling you, do one thing that makes you happy. And if you are having to do this job that you hate, fine, do it. But come home and do something that gives you pleasure. As that happens, eventually, whatever doesn't vibrate at this high frequency, when you get strong enough vibrating at this frequency, whatever is non-harmonious with it, it'll go out of tune. It'll dissolve out of it. And you become harmonious with the things that you desire. And you bring more of that into your life. So literally, it's science. It's not even woo. It's just that we don't know how to use it continuously so that we get the constant result, because we think that it's not a law. But it's like the law of gravity. You can't argue with the law of gravity. Okay, so that law of attraction is real. It's just that we just don't know how to apply it, and we get it the exact opposite, because our subconscious mind is the one that's ruling the game. And if we have the wrong programming in there, you can say all the affirmations in the world. But if you're saying these affirmations, I am a millionaire, I am this, I am powerful, and then in your mind you're hearing, no, you're not. Who do you think you are? You're not worthy, yada, la, la, yada, yada, yada. Then what do you think is going to be the most attracting force there? The affirmations that you're parroting out and blah, 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 and repeating without feeling them, or that feeling of, ugh, I'm not good enough. Ugh, I don't deserve this. Ugh, who do I think I am? That is what keeps the vibration. And so all we have to do is, I have a way of creating affirmations that take the resistance out, so that there's no resistance, and your emotions have to agree, because it's such a simple thing. And it's like, yeah, I agree with that. I can be in line. I can be on board with that. And then eventually you'll get to, I am powerful. I am a millionaire. I earn $10,000 a month. I earn $10,000 a day. It just starts growing that way. But you have to come into alignment. Your beliefs have to match your thoughts, have to match your emotions, have to match your words, have to match your actions. And a lot of people think it's like, if I sit here and I meditate and I pray, everything's going to show up. Well, I know my boyfriend is not going to be brought over by the FedEx man if I don't do something to get out there and start meeting people. It's just not going to happen. I have to take some action. And until then, I don't think it's going to happen unless I get him wrapped in a box. I don't think that's going to happen. So it's all the same in every aspect of our lives. You know, you're not going to get the relationship. You're not going to get the relationship with your spouse if you're not taking the action, right? And creating the change within yourself, aligning yourself. The most magnificent thing is that we don't have to change anybody else. We only have to get into alignment. We don't even have to change ourselves, because we're already perfect. All we have to do is align ourselves to our desires and start vibrating at the frequency of love. So let's go get started. Take 3 to 6 cleansing breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. Put your feet flat on the floor. Put your palms facing up on your thighs. And if you haven't already, go ahead and close your eyes. Allow the sound to bathe you, cleanse you. Get rid of anything that's discordant and disharmonious in your body. Take a deep, deep cleansing breath. Start coming back, wiggle your toes, do a little stretch. Open your eyes when you're ready and come back. Wonderful. I know sometimes it's hard to get back, right? You start feeling all those blissful feelings, going deep. Welcome back. Good, good, good. Okay, guys, thank you so much. If you're ready to take your meditation to the next level, or if you've never meditated and you felt like it's something daunting and you don't feel like you can do it, come join me. This thing will do you. All you got to do is show up and the magic will happen. I figured out a way. And, you know, it's one of those things where I've always been like, when people give me this or that, I say, why can't it be this and that? And I was able to apply that when I got the sign to keep going with the sound healing. It's like, well, I don't have to give up the accelerated learning. I don't have to give up the sound healing. Why don't I just bring it all together? And that's what Vocal Tapestry ended up being. It's that blend of accelerated learning tools and the sound healing that creates the magic, because it starts working at a subconscious level, at a very deep level, where things start to become as automatic as driving or as swimming or riding a bicycle. Once you've learned them, you create a new set of tools, and they're there, they're installed, and you don't have to think about it. It's like you don't have to think about brushing your teeth, right? So it becomes as easy as that. Anyway, I love you. I'll be putting the link in the comments. We start tomorrow. I recommend, if you're on the fence, just go for it. If you feel within a week that it's not for you, I'll give you your money back. But give it a shot, because it is amazing, and we're gonna have a blast. So I will see you tomorrow. If you're starting with the meditation course, it won't be over the weekends. We're gonna break. We're not doing it over the weekends now. We're just doing it during weekdays, which is it'll give you also time to just gel to the techniques, and you'll be able to continue on the practice on your own, and then you come back to it. So I'm going to try a new way of doing this. It'll still be the 21 days, but every time we're making it better and better, right? You have me an hour and a half every day, every weekday, and it's going to be amazing. If you're not joining us, I hope to see you next week on another installment of Sound Bath Sundays. My Facebook people, give me a chance. My YouTube crowd, thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I will see you next week.